Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel on human design. Today we're going to be looking at sixth line wisdom, and we're going to go into the nature of the sixth line. So this is going to be relevant for all of those of you with a profile with a sixth line, whether that's be the 3-6 or the 4-6 or the 6-2 or the 6-3. But it also is going to apply to every one of you who has a sixth line in your chart, because the same mechanics take place. So what do we know about the sixth line? The sixth line goes through a three-stage process, whether it's in a profile or whether it's in the line that you may have in your own chart. So it's important to understand there is an experiential basis to the sixth line that it learns through. It learns through trial and error in that first process. And usually the first process, we measure it within the first 30 years or so. So there is this trial and error process where, the sixth line is looking for perfection. It's looking for really, doing a good job and being integrity. And it discovers in the third line process that this isn't always possible. We talk about the sixth line being a vulnerable line when it's younger, because it's learning by trial and error, and it's not really equipped to do that particularly well. It has to learn from its mistakes. Just as I do as a 1-3 profile, I learn through my mistakes, but it's an ongoing process for me because I'm here to kind of push the boundaries of what I know through having a go, through trial and error. The sixth line isn't about that. The sixth line is about getting to a point of perfection in terms of the integrity of themselves. And if you want to know what sixth lines are in their full scope, then get to the link at the bottom here and go and get your own Rave I Ching, because you can read all the six lines and that'll give you the scope of what a sixth line is. I mean, human design is a wonderful knowledge base, but you got to do the study. You've got to go in there and investigate and see what's really in there. Now, when you come to the sixth line, they're not going to bother to do that unless there's a point. What is the point is the real wisdom of the sixth line. What is the point? Why should I get involved? What's the point of me saying something to someone if they're not going to do anything about it? I mean, there's no point. Better not to get involved. This takes us to another keynote in the sixth line, the keynote of leadership. So there is an inherent leadership in the sixth line. Why? Because they go through the trial and error process. They go through that deeply subjective, working it all out, finding out what doesn't work and moving on. And they move on into a stage of objectivity. And this is where the leadership begins to show itself. So if you've got a sixth line profile, it's going to be in those 20-year period between around 30 to around 50. And it's different for everyone slightly. But basically, there is this period where you become more objective. You're not going to side with a friend of yours over an issue if you don't think they're right. If you think they're coming from the wrong position or the wrong place, or they're just talking nonsense, you're going to say it. And that's what's really needed for the sixth line. The sixth line to stand in their own integrity. So let's look further. But before we do, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Richard Beaumont, and I've been doing human design for more than 25 years, and I'm enjoying sharing some of what I know on this YouTube channel. Okay, so what else do we know about the sixth line? The sixth line is known as the role model. So what is a role model? A role model is someone who is themselves. The key thing about the sixth line is that they're here to be themselves in their own integrity. So you're either a role model of yourself, a unique manifestation of you. There isn't another you in the world. We are all different. And for the sixth line, it's about, I want to be me, you know, whatever else is going on, I want to be me. So we've got leadership in terms of the objectivity to be able to see if there really is a point for them. For example, if we look at the line of integrity in the 46, line 6, we see it's about saying no to restrictive commitments. The 46 is an expansive attribute. It's there to grow through the experience of whatever it is that you're doing. Are you growing? Are you expanding in it? You know, are you becoming more of you in that process or not? If you are overcommitted to too many things with the 46th gate, then you're not in integrity. You're always running to catch up. You're going to run out of energy. It's going to be exhausting, etc., etc. What is the point? What is the point? When we come to the 20th gate is a good example. The 20th gate in the 6th line is the line of wisdom. That's what it's called. And what does it say? It says in the exaltation, the establishment for the benefit of society, values, ideals, and their patterns, and how they can be understood and applied. The ability to transform individual awareness for general application and understanding. The 20th gate is a voice of an individual knowing. But what is the point in listening to someone's individual knowing if you can't get something from it that you can apply? What's the point in saying something really potentially meaningful for those who can understand it if the vast majority don't understand it? There's no point. It's about what can be applied. What is the point? Remember that. What is the point? Now, when we come to the role model and the integrity and for the role model to be themselves, what's the other side? The other side is the hypocrite. The other side is, you know, saying something and then doing something else, not being integrity. When I think about the 6th line and I think about the role model or the hypocrite in terms of the binaries there, it's like you are either authentically yourself or you can be a warning of what not to be, of what not to be. So when you look at those 6 lines in your chart, or if you've got it in your profile, think about that. Think about, you know, am I a hypocrite? You know, am I a warning of what not to be? You know, are you born on the cross of prevention and you're not preventing anything? You know, are you born on a cross that is designed to get out there in the world and you're not getting out there in the world? Or are you chasing money and trying to be something that you're not and pretending to be? That's not going to bring you satisfaction. That's not going to bring you the right kind of recognition. You don't want to be recognized for what you're not. You want to be recognized for who you really are. And only you know that. Another way that leadership can be shown in the 6th line is the fact that they do have this ability to assess what is really the case or not. So, for example, Ra talks about the 6th line stepping in front of the people that are trying to chase the rebel and attack the 5th line for their heresy. And the 6th line goes, no, wait a minute. Listen to this guy, you know, he's making good sense. Yes, it's different to what we know. It's different from the mainstream, but give him a chance. Listen to him. He's telling you something practical. And because the 6th line has within it this theme of trust, can you trust them? Can they trust you? People do trust 6th lines because of their objectivity, that state when they can get to see the this and that of things and whether anything is really worth it, whether it has a point or not. So the trust in the 6th line also opens the door to new things coming, to us taking a different direction, the direction that we were moving in because of the heresy of the 5th line. I mean, all of us are involved in being fascinated and learning about human design. Well, human design came from a 5-1. It's a radical heresy to look at ourselves in terms of mechanics, not physical mechanics, not just physical mechanics, but also the fact that we are what we are within a certain framework, within the human design framework. And the 6 lines that stood with Ra, you say, oh, listen to this man, I'm listening to him, you listen to him. Why? Because it's practical, because it works, because it's verifiable, and there is no point in people learning human design if they're not going to apply the knowledge and apply the knowledge in their strategy and authority, to run the experiment in their own lives, to see for themselves that it works. It has to be applied. Otherwise, it's just intellectual knowing that isn't going to make any difference to your life. So the 6th line wisdom is something that is to be regarded highly, providing those 6 lines are in integrity, providing that they're moving to what the perfection is of them being themselves, to be able to say what is really true for them, to be able to relax in being their difference without comparing themselves with other people. The 6th line wisdom is something to really listen to. It's something that I've listened to my whole life at different times. So they're worth listening to, but let them go through the trial and error process first. And you watch yourself. If there are a lot of people that get into human design and they're very hard on themselves, and if you've got a six lines in your chart, give yourself a break. You've got to go through a process before you can really see what the point is. It's okay. There's no hurry. It's about coming to who you are authentically, which is what human design is all about. And it's the 6 lines that can really embody that. And my God, we need good role models. We need those people that will stand in their own integrity and say it the way it is, without bias, to say what is true for them. And they can see very often what is true for the other. Another point I want to make about the 6th line is that we talk about the subjective period for the first 30 years. We talk about the objective period in those 20 years on the roof, separate from things, feeling more aloof from everyday events, even more aloof from their own life. During the Chiron cycle, they come back into the world, and then we get this movement from objectivity to transcendence. After all, what is the point? The 6 lines have this ability to step back and see, to just detach from what is going on, what is really going on. You have to step back. And they're able to do that more than any other line. I remember my great friendship with Randy Richmond, someone who was there at the beginning of human design and a good friend of ours as well. And we used to hang out and have great fun. There was a lot of laughter. He was a 6'3". And in my early process, if I got tied up with something or other, I might give him a ring, and his advice often came with a laughter, it doesn't matter, Richard, it doesn't matter, who the hell cares, It would be this attitude of, what is the point? It would be the attitude of don't get caught up in that. Step back, see the larger picture. So remember the transcendence. The 6th line is above the hexagram. We've got the hexagram of 6 lines, but really the epitome of the hexagram is in the 5th line. It's what everyone projects upon those 5th lines. This is what the hexagram is really about. This is what the quality or the characteristic is all about. But the 6th line, they already know that. It's not really of interest to them what that hexagram is about. They're looking to the next one. What's transcendent? Where are we going? Where's everything leading to? Leadership comes from seeing where things are leading to, and if there is a point or not in getting involved. And if there is no point that anything's going to come, anything good is going to come from getting involved, they won't bother. They could help people if they said something, but they don't bother because that person isn't going to do it. So why bother? Stepping back, getting to the point of transcendence and integrity and real leadership, being able to be that role model that they are. That really is the fruition of the sixth line, to be themselves. And in being themselves, others, other profiles, other people can see someone being themselves. That's what the role model is all about. And yes, they will have had a lot of accumulated wisdom in that process to be able to be themselves. We can learn a lot from them. If we look at the 10 line 6, which is called the line of the role model, this is about behavior, and people with the 10th gate in the G, they know about behavior. They know how to behave correctly. It annoys them when other people don't behave correctly. But when it comes to them, it's them. There are no rules. It's me you're talking about. I can behave how I want. It's designed to behave in an individualistic way. I find that very funny, but I also find it very revealing. It's very refreshing to see a sixth line just being themselves no matter what. When they stand their ground and they make the point of it's me, and they don't have to explain themselves so much. It's just them being them. That's what a role model is all about. Integrity and leadership from that integrity, and only leading if it's going to lead to something. So sixth line wisdom, it's an important part of the matrix, and it's something to pay attention to. Good. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please like and subscribe and share. And I will be back very soon with something completely different. Bye for now.